Welcome back to the PubMed tutorial. This is Karen Knight from the Medical Library at University of Virginia. I've shown you how to do a basic search where you enter both search terms at one time on the search bar. Then in the second search example, I showed you how to enter each term individually, check to see that it maps to a mesh term, and also it looks for all words and titles and abstracts, which is called all fields. And encourage you to do it that way simply because having your search terms in there individually allows you to mix and match more readily. I'm going to show you one more example and then introduce you to my Ncbi, which is your personal locker space. In this case, I'm going to search for depression. Again, I'm going to enter these terms in individually. So depression, as you would imagine, finds a lot of hits, 532,000 plus. I'm going to X that down. Oh, I'm sorry. I should do what I tell you to do, which is to look in advance and look at the search details for depression. And I know because I've searched it so many times that it does find a match on a mesh term. And then look, it goes to town with all different forms of the word depression in all fields. Again, title words, abstract words. Depressive disorder, that's good to know that there's a mesh term for depressive disorder. So I'm glad I came here and looked. But now I can just close up details and go back and enter my second term. Oops, sorry, not that one. I am interested in a concept called TMS. TMS is something that is done for people who are experiencing depression. And you can see someone else has searched TMS and depression together. So I do TMS, I find 13,000 hits. I go into advanced and I check the details on TMS. Now here's why I have you check details. We've got a problem here. It did not find a mesh term. It found a journal. It found the acronym in a journal name, and then it searched it in all fields, which are title, words, and abstracts. But that worries me that it did not find a mesh term. And that's usually my cue to go back in and type it out long ways. PubMed does not handle acronyms well. So just be aware of that. If you type in DVT, it will not find the mesh term for deep vein thrombosis. Now, why is this a problem? Well, if you are going forward with, say, publishing a journal article or presenting a talk at a conference, and you feel like you've seen everything, you will be wrong. You could have missed a lot of things. You're only finding things where that acronym itself was used in a journal article title or a journal article abstract. Now, that certainly is going to include a lot of items, but it won't include all of the items. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to type in what TMS stands for, which is long, unfortunately. Transcranial magnetic stimulation. And I'm going to search it again. So I tried TMS as an acronym. I did not find a mesh term. I am spelling it out and go into advanced to see if it found a mesh term. I look at details. And sure enough, look at that. Transcranial magnetic stimulation is a mesh term. Now, I think this is really disturbing to me that PubMed does not map your acronyms to mesh terms. Ovid does it just fine in the Ovid Medline program. I think it's a shame that they don't do it, but it's just something I want you to be aware of because, again, we found items where the acronym was in an abstract or title, but that's only going to be a small percentage of all the articles that are talking about the topic that you will find when searching it by a mesh term. Okay, so I'm going to hide details and I'm going to hide details down here. So now I really want articles that talk about this TMS concept with depression. So I send the TMS term up with an add query right up here, and then depression with an add query with and search. And I find 2,934 And who knew? Quite a bit. And you can see that like some of these use the acronym, but not everyone used the acronym in a title or in an abstract. So this is why it's so important to search it both ways. One thing I'll point out here, just because I see them, see how this title is in brackets? That indicates that it's written in a foreign language. They will translate the title and the abstract for you, but the article itself is in German, so don't bother to interlibrary loan it unless you speak German. So let's go ahead and apply some limits. I'm going to do human, just in case they have done this on poor bunnies. And I'm going to do English. And I want this to be real state of the art, so I'm going to really tighten up the years. And in a case with a topic like this, I would really like to limit it to randomized controlled trials. Let's see if there are any randomized controlled trials that have been run on this particular topic. And look at that, 99. So I'm quite happy with this search. I would want to take a look through these 99, and it's going to be very fast to just scroll through them because I've got the page set up to show me 200 at a time. And these will be RCTs that are on the use of the TMS for depression. Now, there are other ways I could tighten this search up or change this search. I could pick a much more specific topic other than depression. I could be perhaps look at depressive disorders or look at schizophrenia, or just look at any other more specific topic, and that would probably bring my numbers down. And I can determine that often by just going through them and sort of seeing where the hits are coming from. Here's fibromyalgia, so I might say, maybe that would be a more interesting topic. Excuse me. Once I've done my search and have done all this work, I'm so sorry, dry throat. I would want to click on the last search set that brought up the 99 and save the search strategy to be used again. So how I do that is very easy. I come up here under the search bar and select Create Alert. To create an alert is to save my search strategy. It's taking it a minute, because what it's going to do is come over here and ask me to log in to my Ncbi account. PubMed provides you with a personal space where you can save your search strategies and also save your hits from your searches. It gives you lots of different ways to log in. I set up my account as a my Ncbi account, so that's how I'm going to log in. I'm going to log in. Sorry, I have really slow internet at home, so that's why it's taking so long. Okay, so how I know I'm logged in is because right up here is showing me that it recognizes me, and I can log out anytime. Now remember, where I left PubMed a minute ago was to ask to create an alert for that particular search that was on depression and the TMS. So it's saying, okay, you want to save this search? Do you want to give it a different name? No, I'm going to save the same. Would you like email updates of new search results? If I say yes, it's going to ask me how often do I want to receive updates on this topic. Now, this is a great way to follow a topic across time. If you want to be the first person on your team to know about something, set up an alert system like this, and you'll be able to spout off the latest study before your colleagues. I usually have them come as often as the topic is important to me. This one would be set up default for monthly, but you can change that to weekly or daily. The only thing I usually change is how often, how many. What if something revolutionary happened? I mean, why not go ahead and select a bigger number? They're not gonna send you 100 items if there aren't any. But that's one change I would make. Now, I don't particularly want this one to be sent to me, so I'm going to cancel it. But well, I'll go ahead and save it. Now, I wanted to show you what your My Ncbi locker space looks like. So I'm going to go in and look at my dashboard. There's a lot going on this screen, but let me just cut to the chase. There are two basic shelves in my locker that I use all the time. One shelf is where all my saved searches are. And you can see that I've got a number of saved searches here. And then the other thing on the other shelf that I use quite a bit are my collections. Collections are when I go through my results and I select ones, I can say save to collection. So if I look at a flipped classroom, I have one item in that collection. If I click on it, it's going to bring me back into PubMed and show me that particular item. Really helpful. If I look at one of my search strategies, I haven't looked at this one in a long time, since last year. There's 6 new items. I can click on that 6, and that's going to show me, it's going to take me back into PubMed again and show me those 6 items. So what's nice about this is not only have you saved your work, but you've maintained your ability to link to the PDF. So I really hope you will set up a what I call a My Ncbi locker space. You can call it what you want. There are many different ways to log in nowadays, but I find that creating the My Ncbi option works the best for me. And so this concludes my PubMed tutorial for you. And I hope this has been helpful. There are just a few basic steps that you should do. Of course, you should always start out by thinking hard about what your search topic is. And if you want to use the PICO model, the population, intervention, control, and outcome, that might help you, but you don't have to always do that when you do a search. The last thing I would just point out, and unfortunately, they don't really show you your mesh terms as much as Ovid does. That's why I love Ovid. But if I click, I can go visit mesh directly. So mesh is just a database within the database. So remember I mentioned mouth cancer. So if I did mouth cancer, I wanted to look at the mesh term. I mentioned the mouth is made of many different parts. So here's the mesh term is mouth neoplasms. These are specific subheadings I can select and apply. So if I only want therapy or surgery for mouth neoplasms. But here are entry terms or synonyms. But this is what I really wanted to show you. This is called the tree structure. Every mesh term lives in a family tree of broader terms above it and narrower, more specific terms below it. So mouth neoplasms lives in a broader tree called head and neck neoplasms. I could go above and search broader terms, or I could look below it and go, wow, look at all these more specific parts of the mouth that can all have cancer. The tongue, the salivary glands, the lip, the palate, gingiva, etc. So perhaps my search is coming back with too many items. And so if I'm crossing this with, say, chewing tobacco, maybe I want to focus on just the tongue. So I'm showing you this because you can do your search from here. If I say I want tongue neoplasms, I can click on the mesh term. Now I'm seeing just the record of this term. And again, right here in the tree structure, I'm seeing that it belongs to the broader category of mouth. But if I want to add tongue neoplasms to my PubMed search, I can just right here say add to search builder. And I can specify that it's with an and or an or, and then I can go back to PubMed by searching. So you could do your entire search from the mesh database. I mainly want to show you the MeSH database because it's a great way to explore the terminology that you're using in your search. It's kind of like knowing anatomy. Before you go in and start doing arthroscopic surgery, you kind of need to know what all the structures are around it that you're doing. Oh, and now I'm getting a bad message, but timed out waiting for worker. I take offense at that. I think it timed out waiting for my internet. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that that's a possibility. And if I go into advanced, again, all my other searches are still there. So I could add that back into anything else if I wanted to. So this concludes the PubMed tutorial. I hope it's been helpful. Thank you so much for watching.